This podcast is brought to you by the Islamic Center and NYU. For more information, visit our website at www.icnyu.org.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Wa la hawla wa la quwwata illa billahi al-aliyyil azim. والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين ونشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له ونشهد أن سيدنا مولانا محمدا عبده ورسوله. In the name of Allah, the gracious, the merciful, all praise is due to Allah, the Lord of the universe, the Master of the Day of Judgment. I bear witness and testimony to the oneness of Allah, to His magnificence, His omnipotence, His might, His glory, to His being the creator and sustainer of all things, the giver of life, the guider of hearts, the Master of the Day of Judgment. I bear witness to the fact that Muhammad ibn Abdullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam is His servant and final messenger. May the peace and blessings of Allah be upon him and upon all those who choose to tread in His path until the last day. It is said that when Allah Azza wa Jal looked to see who would be His last messenger to mankind, He looked into the hearts of His creation. The narration, it says to us, in Allah nadhara fi qulub al-ibad, that indeed Allah Azza wa Jal, He looked into the hearts of His ibad, the hearts of His righteous servants. فَوَجَدَ خَيْرَ قُلُوبِ الْعِبَادِ قَلْبَ مُحَمَّدٍ صلى الله عليه وسلم, and he found that the best of hearts was the heart of Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him. فَاسْتَفَاحُ لِنَفْسِهِ, he chooses him for himself. Hence he is called Al-Mustafa, the chosen one. And He endows him with the responsibility of being the last messenger to all of mankind. In the days that surround us, in this blessed month of Rabiul Awwal, you have gatherings taking place throughout literally the world as people commemorate and remember in celebration the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam and his birth. If you were here before the Jummah prayer, Sheikh Aisha, may Allah preserve her, shared with us such deep reflections and insights on who our Prophet is sallallahu alayhi wasallam. The ability to be able to connect has to be one that is a subjective decision. A recognition within yourself and the phase of existence that you find yourself in within this worldly plane as to why, first and foremost, do I need a prophet to begin with? And then two, what is the relationship with the prophet that I claim to be a follower of? The primordial state of existence within our tradition is called the fitra. Within the prism of modernity, a supremacist society makes the claim that whiteness is the primordial state of existence. And you find deeply embedded within the prophetic tradition the antidote to so much that what supremacy calls itself towards. But in the midst of that recognition of what it means to be somebody who is on this most natural way, this fitri state, and a recognition of what is innate and what is things that just comes instinctively to you and I have a 6-year-old named Kareem, an 8-year-old named Medina. It's not hard for them to conceptualize the idea that there is a God. As young children, they can understand the existence of a divine entity. They might not know in deep detail what theological principles and doctrines there are but they can get there is a God. But you can't innately just believe that there's a prophet of God. It's not something that just pops up into our consciousness the way that one can understand innately that there is a God. When you have a construct that is built off of this notion of being of God, a masjid is a house of God, the Quran is a book of God, Rasulullah is the messenger of God. The notion is fundamentally that these things are not meant to draw attentiveness back towards themselves, but they are meant to draw attentiveness back to God. This is something that undoubtedly the Prophet ﷺ does for billions of people. And individually, the relationship you choose to have now necessitates recognizing that it's not just about the memorization of dates. It's not just about being able to spit out names, but it's about being able to dig deep within myself and say, where in fact do I take my philosophy of life from? When I make my choices and I choose those choices and I decide my decisions, what is that based upon? And this religion couples its philosophy on life within a book and a prophet whose life is essentially an explanation of that book. The ability to engage at a deeper level does not mean that my starting point is simplistic. But as I grow and I increase in just my own organic development, so too my relationship now has opportunity to add multiple facets to it. And it's hard because so much of Muslim experience, a generalization that I'm comfortable making across the board, deprives us of being able to access this beautiful individual, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Because just like that innate God that we believe in, that we have an understanding innately of his existence, azza wa jal, when we get to a point where our reflection is able to deepen, at a young, tender age, it stops being about God and it's just about do's and don'ts. Just like many of you likely learned the word fard and haram before you learned who it is that's setting these boundaries. Who is your God? You were probably taught to pray your sunnah prayers before there was an indication of whose sunnah it is that you're following. You think about what the world is governed on. Principles of egocentricity. Ideals and values are now given to companies as opposed to being defined by humans as guidance for virtues. So this is our corporate value. This is what our company believes in. Removing now the individual responsibility of being able to say, what is my ethics? What determines for me my conduct? You have at your fingertips access to real pearls of wisdom and beauty that can be transformative in terms of how it is that you engage both inwardly and outwardly. But if all you know of the way of Muhammad sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wasallam is that you're supposed to just pray these prayers before these other prayers, and if you don't, you're bad, you don't know anything about your prophet. This is a man who greeted young and old, men and women, people of all backgrounds. This is a person who smiled at individuals when they would speak to him and gave his full attention, never showing anybody his back. This is a person who, even till today, if you give salams to the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he still returns that salam. Inshallah, we'll be able to take all of you to the illuminated city, Madinatul Munawwara, so you can stand in the Rawda and extend salams to the best of creation, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. We have everybody move up. You can come close. The Adamic narrative of creation, when Adam alayhi salam is shown all of his progeny. Amidst them, the tradition says that there were individuals that were standing who were shining bright like lampposts. These were the messengers of God, meant to be a means that within the state of existence of darkness of any kind, that you can now move forward in pursuit of something that was a source of luminosity, sent as a mercy to the world. The world right now needs a lot of mercy. Sent to perfect good character. إِنَّمَا بُعِثْتُ لِيُتَمِّمَ مَكَارِمَ الْأَخْلَاقِ. Right now, the world needs more people with good character. Fundamentally, you'd want to think within yourself in terms of where I move and trajectories that are ahead of me, exemplars that I take, people that I deem to be models that I want to emulate. Who would you want to be like? Why is that something that you're in pursuit of? There's such deep insight into the remarkableness of this person, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And you can hear story after story that will just make you wonder, how is it possible that he's like this? The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam has such a sense of selflessness and generosity. A gift of a goat once comes to the home of Muhammad. And this is a gift. It's not a sadaqah. It's not a charity. He can take from it whatever he wants. But rather than indulging in it, he begins to distribute it to people who are in more need than he is. And to understand the magnitude of this occurrence, you can't look at hadith in isolation of each other. And I would argue that this is one of the challenges we have in connecting to the prophetic example. Because you got some people who can quote one hadith or two hadith and talk about it in some ways or the other. I said this to the brothers halakha yesterday. You want to conceptualize the prophetic tradition like a 10,000 piece puzzle. And if somebody can only connect one or two of those pieces, they're not an expert in that. And every narration in our tradition, pieced together, gives us now an understanding of this entire life lived. A life of mercy, a life that is meant to be a source of benefit for creation. This gift of a goat comes, and if you understand distinct hadith, we have narrations that would say days would go by, weeks would go by without a flame being lit in the home of the Messenger of God, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, because he had no food to cook on the fire. We have narrations that tell us that he would strap rocks to his waist to balance himself out from the sheer weight loss he had from not eating so much. And now when a gift comes to his home of a goat that he can take whatever he wants to from it, he gives it away to people who are more in need. And all of it now gets dispersed, but it's shouldered. And his wife, radiallahu ta'ala anha, she comments on this, and she says, none of it is there for us, but it's shouldered. But he doesn't see the world in this way. He doesn't see it in terms of where there is loss, but where others might gain, and ultimately where there's gain in that for them. And when she says none of it is there for us but its shoulder, his response to her is that all of it is there for us except its shoulder. What a beautiful way to see the world. This is a man who a young woman by the name of Umayyah bint Qais comes to be with him and the tribe of Ghafar on the way to a battle. And these women of the Ghafar tribe, they say to the Prophet ﷺ that we want to be a part of this too. He doesn't say your women go home, but he takes them also. And this young woman, Umayyah bint Qais, is seated on the same mount as the Prophet ﷺ. And she goes through her first menstrual cycle. You can imagine what this is like experientially. A person now coming to a different place of recognition of their body and what that entails. And not only going through something like this in a public setting, but it's happening now when you're riding on the same steed as the messenger of God. And our prophet, when he notices, he simply turns to her and says that you can wash over the areas where the blood has gotten on, and allows for her to find comfort in the directions he gives to her in response to her first period. And then an entire battle takes place. And Umayyah bint Qais, she's telling the story in her own words. And as she's telling it, she points to a necklace that she's wearing. And our prophet, who is responsible for all of mankind, who's in a place of existence, that the burdens of revelation are on his shoulders, who has to ensure that he is the caretaker, the counselor, the statesman, the general, every role of leadership. He goes, finds this young woman at the conclusion of a battle. He puts this necklace around her neck, making her feel like a queen on a day that is usually so difficult for so many. She's so ecstatic. It means so much to her. She tells the people, when I die, I want to be buried with this thing. That's whose sunnah you're taught to follow. Somebody who doesn't simply know how to talk to people of all different backgrounds, but he knows how to make somebody feel as if they are the most important thing, because they are. A man who, when he stands at the Battle of Uhud, a battle that we lost, and his blessed face is injured by the opposition, blood is dripping. He jumps to catch the blood in his hand before it hits the ground. And the people ask him, why are you doing this? And he says that those people, the ones who caused him that pain, those people would not be able to handle what would happen to them if this blood hit that earth. It's mercy. This is a man a person by the name of Abdullah ibn Ubay, who is the chief of the hypocrites, the munafiqeen, spent days slandering the Prophet's wife, causing him to be separate from her, deep turmoil and commotion. And when that man, Abdullah ibn Ubay, passes away, the Prophet stands to lead his janazah prayer. And the people say to him, what are you doing? This is Abdullah ibn Ubay. Don't you know what he did to you? And he says to those people that Allah says in the Quran, you could seek forgiveness for them or not seek forgiveness for them. Even if you sought forgiveness for them 70 times, they would not be forgiven. And he says that means if I need to stand on this man's grave and seek forgiveness for him 71 times, I will do so. That's your prophet. Love unconditional. Why would you not want to follow him? This is a man who, when all of us go to stand in front of Allah on the day of judgment, Yawm al-Qiyamah, the day of Hisab, day of accountment, Allah make it easy for all of us. The people will be in such a frenzy. We're taught that people won't have clothes to wear. They will be in a state of shock, knee deep, waist deep, neck deep in their own sweat and perspiration from the blazing sun upon them. The Prophet's wife asks, how is this possible? Won't the men and women look at one another? He says, it's going to be more severe than that. And the people, they will go to Adam alayhi salam asking for intercession. And Adam alayhi salam will say that Allah is more angry today than he has ever been and more angry today than he will ever be. How can I intercede for you? I got to take care of myself. They will go to Musa alayhi salam. They will go to Ibrahim alayhi salam. They will go to every single person they can. And every single person is going to be saying, nafsi, 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 myself, myself, myself. One voice alone is going to be saying, ummati, ummati, my ummah, my ummah. That is your Prophet, sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Still thinking of others before he thinks of himself, even on that day when everyone else in existence is trying to figure out what they can do for themselves. You want to build a relationship with the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, with his righteous family, with the luminaries of our tradition. You don't need people's permission to take their characteristics. You just start to embody them as you are in their presence. So I don't know about you, but I would love to be like this person, like this man, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. How can I take on those characteristics if I don't spend time with anything of what it is that he has left behind? Pick up a book of hadith that talks about good character and say that I'm not going to lie because I want a heart that's like that heart. And if he didn't lie, then that must be a means through which I can awaken this inside. I'm going to share and give to others. And when I'm trying to adopt a methodology on how I live my life, I'm going to use the prophetic example. That there's always enough food for everyone to eat. There's enough space for somebody to come and sit. That we are not measured based off of our race, our wealth, our ethnicity, our class. We connect at the level of hearts. We know whose sunnah it is that we follow. We remember who our teacher is, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Then you spend time with people who embody those things. It's easy to make religion just something that's about externals. We're going to all prostrate in a few minutes in prayer together. May Allah accept it from us. You can be in a physical prostration, but your heart can still be someplace else. You can be in a place where your body is bowing down in the time-tested methods of adopting a sense of focus and concentration and internal illumination. But if your mind is sitting someplace else, then that's where it is. Everything in terms of good character, healing, decision-making, being a good father, a husband, a son, a good spouse, a good mother, a good daughter, a good anything that you need, you will find that within the prophetic example. You think deeply, because a lot of the things that we hear again and again and again, they start to reign true. The adaptation of the sunnah is not just about things that we deem it to be, because there's an inward and an outward to the prophetic example. Nobody's telling you to go rock a thobe. You're not doing that. Why do you need to? It's not about just wearing the turban. It's about being in a space where you know why you are choosing your choices, to be a source of real love and real life and real light. I used to go to so many places to speak with people pre-COVID, and now it's starting to pick up again. And prior to being somebody who was invited to talk about things, I used to sit in a lot of audiences and listen. And one of the things that I could never understand was how somebody could get on a microphone and in the same breath talk about the concept of prophetic mercy and compassion and love, and then also say to the people, wouldn't you be embarrassed if the prophet came into your home and saw how you lived? He saw what you were watching and what you were listening to and what you eat and how you treat people and how you spend your time. And I remember the first time I was sitting now on a stage with somebody who tried to say something like that. When they handed me the mic, I said, with all due respect, don't deflect your insecurities on my prophet. Because he was not the man, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, who would walk into somebody's life and make them feel as if they were the worst of the worst. Show me in the hadith where he's invited to someone's house and he walks in and instantaneously says, haram, haram, haram. Show me where his identification of those around him was about where they struggled and where they were insecure and where they weren't doing so well. Versus his husn was such that he would walk into a space and help you to see what was inherently good within you and empower you through that state of goodness to get you to recognize that you could get to places that you didn't even imagine you could get to. So my prophet would not walk into my home and tell me that I am something that is lowly. My prophet would give me hope. It would help me to stand back up after I've fallen. It would let me know that it's okay, that I still am entitled to have a relationship with the God that he is a messenger of. Every day, connect to your Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Read a little bit of the teachings that he has left behind. It's just carrying you to places of treating people better. To have morals and ethics and values define and dictate why it is that you do what you do. And you seek to engage and implement through that connection the movement forward that is rooted in hope. The coming Wednesday night in this space, we're going to be gathering together to celebrate our Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam as a evening. The unifying individual who we recognize collectively as our messenger, whether we are Sunni or Shi'i, whether we are black, white, brown, whether we are rich or poor, male or female. He's a prophet for all of us because God is for all of us also. Be in the gathering and come with an open heart and allow it to be an entry point now into a place that when you are walking through these streets and people are choosing their choices based off of what is societally acceptable but hurts other individuals at times. You say, I'm going to go visit the sick because I know who my teacher is. I'm going to greet those that I know and those that I don't know because I know who my teacher is. I'm going to honor the rights of elders. I'm going to treat orphans with dignity and respect. I'm going to be the person who comes in and tries to be a source of light for those that are around me because I know who my teacher is. And I know that my teacher believes in me. That he said that I am his brother, I am his sister, when he was asked by the people around him. That because I believed in him without seeing him, he gave me that title of proximity. So when I go and engage the world that seeks to put me in a box that I'm bigger in, and somebody deals with me with darkness and makes me feel as if I don't belong, if nothing else, it'll help me to just see the brightness of his light that much more. But you gotta want that. You gotta want to be in a place where you say, that's the type of person I want to be molded by. That's the type of person who I want to connect to so that I can deeply connect to my God. It's not just a once a night thing in a year, but you're consistently, collectively, individually moving forward. The legacy of a man, well, all he was trying to do was help people get to where they potentially could get to. Kindness, gentleness, forbearance, every good trait that you could think of, it's embodied in his character. And it's your right more than anyone else to have a relationship with that prophet. You just have to choose whether it's something you want to engage in or not. أقول قولي هذا واستغفر الله لي ولكم ولسائر المسلمين فاستغفروه إنه هو الغفور الرحيم. إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونؤمن به ونتوكل عليه ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله تعالى فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له ونشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له ونشهد أن سيدنا مولانا محمدا عبده ورسوله. He's had some dua requests. Brother Fahim Farazi, who's a graduate from the class of 2013, his cousin Abdul Rahman passed away recently in Toronto. Another brother his name is Muhammad Al-Rus, he's the father of Lina Kamal, a member of our community. I was told that there is a student in Stern by the name of Tej Mumadisingu, who has passed away recently as well. And many of our students from Stern had asked that we keep them in our prayers. Sister Manira, who is the mother of our sister Adijana Kalinkovich, also passed away this week. Our sister Sanuddin, her grandmother Noor Jahan as well. Our sister Zinat Khan, who is a grad student in the School of Nursing. Her father Sayyid Rahman passed away in India this week. Brother Shakil Ahmed, who graduated from Stern in 2002. His father, Abu Rabbi, passed away a couple of days ago also. They've asked that we can keep them all in our du'as. Please invoke Allah for the maghfirah, forgiveness, grants them peace in the grave and entrance into Jannah without any judgment. Our sister Mahreen Ali, who's in the NYU class of 2022, and many of you know her as being in the presidency in charge of Muslims for Change. She's also the chair of the student government. Her father, Dr. Mohsen Ali, is battling liver cancer. She's asked that we keep her in our prayers. Brother Asad Beg, who graduated in the class of 2011, his father, Muzaffar Beg, is in the hospital ICU in critical condition right now. Professor Abir Abwab is battling cancer, and she's the mother of Ade Al-Ajluni, who's in the class of 2025. One of the elders of our community, her name is Farida Sheikh. She's undergoing surgery today. She's asked that we also remember her in our prayers. Let's make dua that Allah makes these ailments a means of purification in this world and a means of elevation in the next. And grants our brothers and sisters a complete healing, shifa, and a quick and easy recovery, inshallah. إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما اللهم صل وسلم وبارك على سيدنا محمد في الأولين وفي الآخرين. اللهم صل وسلم وبارك على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وبارك وسلم يا أرحم الراحمين. اللهم إنك عفو كريم تحب العفو فاعف عنا. يا مقلب القلوب ثبت قلوبنا على دينك. اللهم اجعلنا من المخلصين. اللهم اجعلنا من المخلصين. اللهم اجعلنا من المخلصين. We begin this supplication in your name, Ya Allah. We beseech you to send your choicest salutations of the most beloved, sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam. We ask that you shower your infinite mercy upon this gathering, granting each and every one who is present here in our loved ones only the best in this world and the best in the next. We ask, Ya Allah, that if all of us are meant to be together only at this time, at this place, whether we are young or old, male or female, regardless of our race, our ethnicity, our social class, our country of origin, our cultural heritage, whether we are Muslim or come from a different walk of life, Ya Rabbi, if our individual hearts are meant to be in the presence of all of their hearts that are gathered here only at this time, at this place, then gather us all together again in the best of places in the world beyond this one. Increase us, Ya Allah, in all that is good. Increase us in courage, compassion, and confidence. Protect us from any affliction, anxiety, or anguish. Remove from our hearts any feelings of bitterness, jealousy, animosity, or envy towards any of your creation. Grant us hearts that are filled with understanding and hope, hearts that are drawn towards things of real goodness and beauty, hearts that find themselves deep in your remembrance, for indeed in your remembrance do hearts find rest. Many of our students, Ya Allah, are going through their mid-semester examinations and papers at this time. We ask, Ya Allah, that you grant them tawfiq, success in all of their endeavors. That you put barakah into their studies, Ya Rab, and grant them more success on every tomorrow that they are in this world. The ultimate success in the highest level of your paradise in the world beyond this one. We ask, Ya Allah, that by the blessings, the barakah of this month of Rabiul Awwal, that you make us those who draw closer to your Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him. Help us, Ya Allah, to be those who embody his way, his teachings, both outwardly and inwardly, and to take every lesson, every wisdom that he has left behind for us and our benefit, to be a means through which we draw closer to you. Help us to recognize the honor that it is to be of the Ummah of Muhammad, and make us those who truly represent in the best of ways that we can that rank that has been given to us. Protect us always from hearts that are not humble, tongues that are not wise, and eyes that have forgotten how to cry. Forgive us for our shortcomings and guide and bless us all. ربنا تقبل منا إنك أنت السميع العليم وتب علينا يا مولانا إنك أنت التواب الرحيم وصلى الله تعالى على خير خلقه محمد وآله وصحبه أجمعين برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين وأقم الصلاة.
If you would like to listen to more, please donate to www.icnyu.org/donate. For more of our virtual programs, go to www.icnyu.org/classes. If you have any questions, email us at info@icnyu.org.